Lady and the Tramp is about a pampered cocker spaniel by the name of Lady whose comfortable life starts to slip away as her owners have a baby. This is where she encounters a dog named Tramp, who shows her a little bit more of the wild and rougher side of life. These two eventually fall in love and, in a way, have their happily ever after. So, we're going to talk about this movie right now. Hey friends, welcome to Disney Pastor. I'm your host Tim. I talk all things Disney, which includes Walt Disney animation. I'm going to be talking about the good, the average, and the bad of Lady and the Tramp. Keep in mind this is the animated version, not the live action version that they released on Disney Plus a few years ago. So keep that in mind. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the good.
Ooh, that's good.
One thing I will say is the characters are memorable, they're fun, they're definitely enjoyable. Lady and Tramp, respectively, are easily the standouts here, but I'd say, of course, Jock, who is kind of one of the terrier here in this movie, he also is pretty solid here as well. Oh, and Trusty's pretty funny as well. Overall, there's some solid characters. One of the other things here is the animation. For another movie that comes out during the Silver Age, this is definitely the highlight, with the animation continuing to be very strong. The backgrounds here are great. The characters are done very well in terms of their color and style, and it just looks very, very beautiful and very well done in terms of 2D animation. Next up is the story. It's very easy to follow for the most part, and it's done quite well. You have your emotions, you have some tensions, you have some just dynamic shifts. Overall, it's done quite well and is an enjoyable time throughout when you're watching this movie. It can be a little slow at points and kind of feel like there's not really much going on here, but this is not necessarily an action-packed or an adventure story, but this is something that is a little more kind of low-key with some fun action elements within it, but it is a much different type of story than, say, a normal fairy tale like Peter Pan or Cinderella.
Something good, something bad, a bit of both.
I think for me, it's the songs. Now, let me just get this straight out of the way. Bella Notte is a really great song and is done very well. It is the standout. Everything else, I'll be honest with you, I watched this maybe a week or so ago. I don't remember any of the other songs. Bella Notte is the only one that's really remembered. And yeah, it's done a few times, which is nice. I mean, you have a similar theme throughout, and that's pretty enjoyable and something different than the past few Walt Disney animated projects, but it's just okay. This definitely could be an area that's better, and it has been better with stuff like Peter Pan or Cinderella, even Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. All of those have had not just one song that's memorable, but a few songs that are extremely memorable, and so for this one, definitely falls a little flat. Before I dive into the bad of this movie, question of the day is this: what is your favorite character or part of Lady and the Tramp? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to chat Lady and the Tramp with you down there. Without further ado,
I have a really bad feeling about this.
and it's going to be twofold with kind of the villains here. I'm going to start off with Aunt Sarah because she is problematic, and I get that is part of her character, and she's part to help kind of usher the story forward, but she's just one of those characters that you really just do not like at all, and I don't know anyone who's ever liked her. Ever. She's just annoying. I understand she's part of the story, and that is literally her entire job, but it is definitely not what you want to see. That's for sure. And then, of course, the big area here is going to be the cats. Now, I understand they have a song, and to be honest, I literally just remembered it as we're talking about it. So there's that. The song is definitely problematic, and so are the cats. There is some racial undertones here, and while it is not great in a modern day lens, we do have to remember this, is that this is something we can learn from and continue to grow and mature as a society, as a culture, etc. That being said, Either way, regardless of the undertones that these cats have, I just never cared for them. They're just there and then they're gone. They're supposed to be the villains of the movie, but other than essentially playing a small role in the story, they don't really affect it all too much. I firmly believe Aunt Sarah would have probably kicked her out regardless of what she did to the cats. But that being said, they're there and you definitely forget about them until you rewatch this movie or the song pops up in some way, shape, or form. This is an area that isn't done super great. And with coming off of like Captain Hook and the Queen of Hearts and Lady Tremaine, those three villains, which are like top tier villains, this just falls very flat in that area.
And so our journey comes to an end.
Overall, this is a pretty enjoyable movie. In terms of the Silver Age, this is probably the low point in it, but that just goes to show just how well done this era of Walt Disney animation is. I find this movie, for the most part, to be pretty enjoyable. It's an easy watch. It's not a super heavy action-adventure type of story. It's not something that will kind of break your heart, but it is overall pretty enjoyable. Compared to some of the others of the Silver Era, this is one I don't go back to as often, and I would say, compared to a lot of Walt Disney animated projects, this is one I definitely don't rewatch a ton. When I do, it's a pretty enjoyable time, but it's not something that I would say is super memorable or as enjoyable as many of the other projects, whether in the past that we've reviewed or those we have looking forward. That being said, overall, I give this a 7 out of 10. It may be a little high, but I think that's a pretty decent rating here. And I give it a fun of a C. Again, it's a decent time. Other than the cats, I wouldn't say there's anything super duper problematic with this movie. Aunt Sarah's kind of annoying, so there's that. Let me know your thoughts on this movie down in the comments below, or answer the question of the day, favorite character or favorite part of this movie. I'd love to chat Lady and the Tramp down below with you there. If you enjoy the video, please give it a big thumbs up. I greatly appreciate it. Helps me know what you like, what you don't like. And if you're new around here, I want to say a special welcome to you. I am so glad that you spent a little bit of time as I talked and you listened, but as we engaged talking about Lady and the Tramp together. If you're interested, be sure to subscribe down below and hit the bell to be notified for more videos just like this one. I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great day. Goodbye.